So welcome to some games I've been playing recently. And yes, I'm just coming off Sandland and Stellar Blade. No pun, two stellar games. Sandland has really surprised me because I thought it was going to be a lot smaller of a game, and I'm like, whoa, this is not a small game. This is quite a large game, and there's so much variation in gameplay in the game, and I think that's what blew me away. And it's just nice to see Akira Toriyama designs again, flourishing. I absolutely love it. Never mind Stellar Blade, which is an amazing action game that kind of came out of nowhere in a way. I didn't have a lot of hype, and then all of a sudden it got some serious momentum, and everybody's been talking about it. And I'll ask you guys, what have you been playing recently? Have you been playing old games, some new games, a combination of them? Let me know down below. And yeah, that goes into my segue that yes, I've been playing some very old games and some new games that are based on very old games. And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to talk about the Polymega today and how I've been loading up my machine with all of my older games. And I'm going to talk about Eiyuden Chronicle. Finally has been released. I've been playing it, and I'm going to get into all of the details of what I think.
Any last words?
So Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes has been released, and this has been a very anticipated game of myself and for a lot of you out there because it's a spiritual successor to the Suikoden series right here, and I love me some Suikoden, that is for sure. I played the first game in 1996, and it's kind of crazy for me to think about is I bought my PlayStation 1, and I didn't buy a brand new PlayStation 1 when it was released. I bought it a little bit used later on, and then this is the game that sold me. I was like, this is a next generation RPG on the PS1. I've got to get this. And I was reading about it in video game magazines. I'm like, this is my RPG. I got to do this. And so finally, back then in 96, I saved up all the money and I picked up my PlayStation and this game. I started playing it, and little did I know that I was playing an RPG classic of all time. I didn't know that at the time. I was just playing it and going, yeah, this is a lot of fun. And oh, I love the fast, combat that's going on in the game. I love collecting all of the heroes. I love the music. I love the character designs. I thought everything was really working for this game, and there's been a few released over the years, that is for sure. A true classic, and I've met some really good friends of mine just by talking about Suikoden. Isn't that strange? So, in 2020, it got announced there was going to be a Kickstarter for a brand new spiritual successor to the series. And the director would be the same director of the rest of the series. He left, I think, in 2002, Yoshitaka Murayama. And unfortunately, this is kind of sad, he directed the whole game, produced it, all of that great stuff, and then he passed away. It's just recently. It's really, really sad news. I mean, he created a true classic series, and just as his game was getting released, just before that, he passes away, so he never got to see the fruits of his ambition in a way, and I think that's such a crying shame. But yeah, the Kickstarter was a big success. Third highest grossing video game Kickstarter of all time, behind Shenmue and Bloodstained, but quite respectable. And I remember seeing the early screenshots of it and going, oh my god, look at this. This is Suikoden once again. So like a lot of you out there, the hype has been building, and then all of a sudden it gets released. And so I started playing it the other day, and I'm quite a few hours into it, and I just want to give some first impressions.
You got this, kiddo. Just keep it loose.
So what do I think? This really harkens back to Suikoden. As soon as I started playing the game, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm in that spiritual universe of Suikoden. That is for sure. As soon as I saw the character designs, when I was running around the town, I was like, this feels really good. This feels like Suikoden. And going up and talking to characters and, recruiting new characters as well into your party, because you always can have, quite a few party members. And in this game, you want to recruit over 100 characters. That was always the main thing of the original Suikoden, was collecting all of the characters and going around the world and creating brand new camps and building your army. That's pretty much what it was, and so very fun to step into this.
You ready for your first assignment?
Storyline was enough to grab me, but the one thing I know it sounds crazy. The one thing that I want to see right away was the combat. Because I'd seen those screenshots and I'm like, it looks so good. So I finally got into combat, and the one thing that I will say is, it's as fast as Suikoden's combat. And that is always been the selling point of the series, is that you get into combat, it's instantaneous, and then all of a sudden your characters do all of their attacks, and all of a sudden they're out, and you win, and it's like, that's good, that's exactly what I want.
This is it!
Some combat back in the olden days would last forever, and all of that. And yes, there's a little bit of load time on this going in.
Let's get it done!
In the old Suikoden games, it was like instantaneous. It was just like, whoop, and you're in, and you just do your attacks and you're out. I always appreciated fast combat. You know, I always did, especially for turn-based stuff.
Sword! This is it!
We cleaned right up!
What can I say about the graphics? I think the graphics are great. I think a lot of people may have problems with some of the graphics in this game. I can understand. There's a little bit of shimmeriness around the characters. Sometimes in combat, some of the grass kind of stands out. It doesn't look like it's part of the background. I get all of that. I really do understand. And some of the characters just don't look too hot at times.
I'm going to make them pay for it when we get home, mark my words.
I personally, and it's because I'm a Suikoden fan, I really like this game. I really do. And I was playing it, I was just like, what a comfort zone RPG. And it's so fun to jump back into this kind of world. This defines, I know the term is kind of controversial now. People like the term, some people don't like the term. I personally love the term. I think it's an homage to Japan and how amazing Japan is. It is the epitome of a great JRPG. Yes, this to me, as soon as I put it on, I'm running around, I see the characters, get into combat, I get out into the world map, which, by the way, is very great. I get out there, and I'm like, this is Japan shining for me. I love it. It's a JRPG and one of the best. I love this kind of game. And it's so much fun to jump in to the combat, run around the world, talk to all the characters, get involved in the plot of it all, fight incredible boss encounters. I like this game, and I don't know if it is for everybody. I don't know if it is. I think a lot of people will want, oh, I want better graphics, where this is an homage to a different time period. And I don't know how you can show the love that they have to the original series in another way. I think they've really nailed it and all of that, but I think this game is going to have its detractors for sure. People say, oh, these graphics are dated and all that. I disagree. I think this is for a certain kind of fan base, and that fan base is here, and I'm with you, to embrace it and to enjoy it and to enjoy the music and to enjoy the combat and the characters.
Looks like we found our officers.
And Yoshitaka Moriyama should be very proud of himself for this game and for what he's given back to the fans. I think he's done a really stellar job here. What do you guys think? Are any of you playing the game? Let me know down below. Does it live up to your hype? Does it live up to the hype, or is it letting you down a bit?
Yeah, got him!
Okay, so we're gonna get into the Polymega talk, and I've wanted to do this for a while. This is not a review. I'm not gonna go full in depth because I was quite frustrated for a long time. I ordered the machine over 2.5 years ago, and I was just like, when is this shipping? When is this shipping? Is it ever gonna ship? And there was a point I'm like, I don't think this is ever going to ship. I remember responding to Polymega on Twitter and posting like a pixelated skeleton going dying, going that was me. And I'm like, I've invested in this machine. And for any of you who don't know, the Polymega is a machine that will play and install your old PlayStation 1 games, Sega CD games, Mega CD games, Genesis games, Mega Drive games, PC Engine games, TurboGrafx games. The list goes on. I mean, there's all the variations of all of those. It's remarkable. Even Saturn games. It's remarkable. But I hadn't had the experience. I was sitting around waiting forever. In fact, when it finally showed up, I thought it was an April Fool's joke. I'm like, there's no way this is actually here. And it actually was. And I just want to say that over the last month and a bit, I've been doing nothing but installing games. All of the games from my collection, all the games that I absolutely adore, I could finally put into this machine and start playing. And I was like, I can't believe I can just install Sega Saturn games and play those. PlayStation 1 games, I can play those. And it's crazy. Genesis games, old classics of mine, like Ghostbusters, that I used to play at my friend Andrew's house down the road. It was his copy. And, years later, I got my own copy. It was so nice to be able to put it in and just run around and play it. And I gotta say, no lag. It felt really good. And I played on emulators over the years to, recreate some of these gaming experiences with mixed degrees of success. But the Polymega so far has been a pleasure. It's been a bit of a wait, way too long of a wait, but it's here, and I was just able to start installing so many games. I mean, so many PC Engine CD-ROM games I've been able to put in there, and this, I just want to say, this is going to benefit the show. This machine, just like the Analog Duo, is going to benefit the show, because there's so many games that I own that I've wanted to talk about for so long that now I can capture the footage, get gameplay, and we can really dive into it. So expect a lot of really different episodes going forward in the future, and I do want to thank the Polymega for that. Is the Polymega perfect? No. Has it, here's a great example. There's games that just won't install, like Mr. Heli here and Splatter House on the PC Engine. They just don't install. They install, you go to play, I get a white screen. It just doesn't happen. And I don't know why, because I know these games work because I played them on my Analog Duo. So, bitter hit or miss there. One thing that I would recommend for anybody, definitely get an extra memory card, put it in the back, and open it up for another terabyte of games you can install. Huge deal. So, because I had maxed it out in the first week. So I'm like, put that in, I could get all my other games in. And yeah, it's just been fun revisiting games like Ghost Warrior Spriggan and, Jackie Chan's, Action Kung Fu. Great stuff. Really fun to play all of the older games now on a console in the year 2024. It honestly feels, and this has been selfish, I know, just indulge me. Let me indulge myself. It felt like a console that was made for me personally. Yes, the older people, the older guy, me, for sure. And just to be able to play all of those old games, like to play Final Fight on the Sega CD again and listen to some of that horrible dialogue.
Mike Hager here.
Hee, Mr. Hager. So pleased to make your acquaintance.
Yeah, for the most part, most of the games install. Like I put Genesis games in, put it in, instantly installs. Instantly. Or TurboGrafx PC Engine games, instantly. These CD games take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how big they are. So you're putting a game in, you're walking away like I've been doing and just kind of waiting for it to install. So that's why it's been a very slow process. Even me showing you all the games that are installed here, this took like a month to get all of these games in because I put a game in, walk away, come back, is it installed yet? No, it's not. Yes, it is. And then kind of go from there. I want to know, for a lot of you out there, have you got the Polymega? What do you think of it? If some of you are like, I'm never doing that. I'm just emulating it the old-fashioned way. Why do I need to put an older game into a machine and install it? That doesn't make any sense. Well, for me, it did. I already have all the games, and I just want to put them in and play them, and it's been really good for me. I mean, it's kind of opened up a whole other world that's been closed for a long time. I'm not as tech savvy as a lot of you out there. A lot of you out there got, upscalers and all things and hooking up to, certain TVs and things like that. I just have my old systems and I don't have all the ways to upscale everything. So a lot of the games have been sitting on the shelf for many years going, play me again. And the Polymega has definitely given me that way to play me again. And so I've really enjoyed that. I want to know what a lot of you think of that. What are you guys playing Let me know down below. Are you playing Eiyuden Chronicle? 100 Heroes? Are you playing some old games, some new games? Are you still playing Stellar Blade? Or you've started playing Sandland? Let me know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.